Do you keep these usually?
You can.
But do you? Because I
All right. Hey,
Sorry, I'm late.
returning.
Yeah. I was that last time, right? I had a
Yeah,
cut. Okay. Right, you recognize me. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
we're getting started. Yeah, you were in the Fat Thor, right? Yeah. All right. Okay, let's get started. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Marvel Plus, the podcast devoted to all things MCU. My name is Brett Scott. I am the host of Marvel Plus, and here with me today is Zoe McCallum, who has done a couple episodes with me.
Yep. As again, we have a couple folks in the audience from our panel last night. Thank you for coming back. We're excited to
Yeah.
have you again.
Yeah, very cool to see people from last night. I know it's a little smaller than it has been. Like last night, we had a lot of people in here, but this is kind of cool because anyone who wants to participate fully can. You don't have to like scream over anybody or anything. So if anyone wants to join in the conversation, it's 100% encouraged. We like that, and we have to talk less when that happens. It's like easier. So today we're going to be ranking all of the Marvel properties. Well, all of the MCU and MCU adjacent properties that came out in 2024, and then also including What If Season 2 from 2023 because we didn't get to do it last year. It happened after the con. So I guess
Yeah, we
without
can get started.
further ado, I think before we do the rankings though, what did you think of 2024 for the MCU in general?
I mean, generally the consensus is I would say there was no massive bombs from the year. I would
Okay.
say. Like there was just a couple specials that were like nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary. But I think after the CEO switch back to back to where it was before is kind of starting to kick in. We're starting to see projects after this change and after Marvel decided to make their quality over quantity decision. So I'm hoping that once they find their footing back in these changes, that we will continue to see projects tonally similar to those we know and love from the earlier 2000s.
Yeah. So did you like the idea of like let's slow this down and not do as many projects? Because that was what I was worried about. They're doing too much. They're doing stuff that people don't even care about, just trying to put out content. And like this idea of like we're doing one movie this year. As much as I love getting to see a movie every like 3 or 4 months, like I was pumped for that. I was like, okay, and it's going to be one really huge movie, and maybe that can start to turn the tide on bringing people back to the theater for this.
I know, potentially controversial opinion. I am okay with focusing more on television series for Marvel. It allows them to spend more time on stories and stretch them out. It also makes it more appealing to the general audience, so that maybe we can, reach more people that wouldn't have otherwise been interested in these comic book stories, and we can create, more discussions and more room for, potentially harder to tell stories.
My only worry with the idea of introducing these series, which by the way, in the beginning, I was pumped for. I was like, what? They're going to do series and movies, and we're going to get content every month like coming out. It was awesome in theory, right?
Yeah.
But my biggest concern though is how many people are going to watch everything. And if they try to connect everything, you're going to lose a lot of people that are like, well, I haven't watched Agatha all along, and I haven't watched What If, and I haven't watched this. So can I really go see Avengers 5? Like, you know what I mean? Am I going to know what's going on? Like, I think at first I was like, the MCU fandom is so diehard that they will watch everything. But it hasn't really turned out that way. I think people have started to come off of a lot of the series because they're like, I'm not interested in that.
I mean, well, and also, I guess this year in particular, we had a otherwise non-MCU film enter the ranks.
Yeah.
And so Deadpool and Wolverine. So we had a lot of the fan base who had never watched the first two films come in and watch the third and critique it gratuitously over marks that just like or were out of lack of knowledge. So that that is definitely a valid concern to have.
Yeah, I mean, I overall though, I think that it obviously was a major hit. Like it did really well in the theaters, no matter what people thought about it. Clearly, they went and saw it time and time and time again. So it's a very blockbuster movie thing that happened, and it's like I don't think people were rushing out to see Ant-Man Quantumania 3 times in the theater. You know what I mean? But I know people personally that saw it 3, 4, 5 times. Saw Deadpool in the theater, so it's definitely something that we needed, like a jolt.
3 times
system.
personally.
3 times personally. Yeah, I think you even have some problems with that movie, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do.
All
We'll
right.
get into it later.
We will get into it. Yeah, so generally I like the idea of slowing it down though, and then kind of focusing on the quality over quantity. I still think that some of the stuff this year wasn't like the best stuff ever, but I do feel like you said, there weren't any real bombs. There was nothing that I went, oh, that was terrible. I would never, I would tell people not to watch it. Like that's not going to be. So it's generally a step up from, I think, previous years, and I think that was a good idea to. And I don't know, a lot of the stuff it looks like they might be getting rid of some stuff, or we just haven't heard about it. They took it off the slate, but they had so much stuff lined up.
Cough, cough, Blade, cough, cough, cough.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if we get that? But even like the series, right? There were so many series lined up. I kind of hope they just nix some of them, and just focus on what is good storytelling.
I'm okay. I'm okay if Miss Marvel doesn't get a season 2.
Really, you don't like Miss Marvel? You're not alone. A lot of people didn't like Miss Marvel,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it. So generally, we think positively about 2024.
I would say, I guess if you wanted to give the entire year a ranking, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. I'm glad that it existed, but there is plenty of room for improvement.
Sure. I'll be happy to get back to like 2 to 3 movies a year, but like awesome movies.
I think two could be. Yeah, or Micah's falling. I think 2 would be a happy medium. Like it allows Marvel to keep up with their their press tours, their advertising, keep the engagement flowing, but it's not enough to where over excessive fatigue.
Yeah, especially with the series too. Like if you're putting out series 2, I think 2 is enough. Before we had series 3 a year was awesome. Like that worked really well. People were going to all of them, even if they weren't that interested in the character, because they had seen what they could do with Guardians of the Galaxy and Ms. Marvel and stuff, and like they are not Captain Marvel and stuff like that. They were going to those movies, not even knowing anything about the characters, and they didn't care because they're like, "Well, it's going to be good because it's the MCU."
And I would like to get back to those origin stories, those films that like these one-off stories. Like even I like when they do it with the series. Like I think someone could go in and watch, like, say, the Hawkeye show, not really having seen the Avengers movies, but you get the point. Like they flash back enough to where you're covered.
Yeah, still thoroughly enjoy it. So I think
we have someone. Yes.
What didn't you like about?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Hey,
the podcast is going off the rails already. Go ahead.
It's what happens.
Ms.
Don't
Marvel.
worry about it.
It was it 2024. Come on.
I just think they should have gotten somebody a little more experienced with acting. I thought she seemed nervous, like a little bit too overexcited to be in the scene.
She was the best thing about that series and the movie. The Marvel movie?
The movie was a lot better. I like the movie actually a lot more than the show.
Well, I think she's delightful. I thought she was awesome.
Kind of like
Yeah.
Peter from Spider-Man. Like
Yeah.
Kind of energy he gave as a teenager.
Nervous energy, yeah.
And she was like, man.
That's what I liked about her. She represented like the fans watching, because like that was our end. I remember looking at it originally. I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay, how am I gonna relate to this Pakistani teenage girl in current day? That's in no way me, right? I don't know what that's like at all. But the way they did it, the way they relate it to us is she's a super fan of the Avengers, just like all the people watching. So it was like you could get into it that way.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know why. I don't really have a specific reason for it, but Bruno, right? Bruno, the guy. He bothered. Yeah, we don't talk. I did not like him. I don't really know why. He just didn't stand out. It's not like the show is aggressively that bad. Yeah. It just didn't stand out to me.
I'll tell you what, the villains were terrible on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I felt when you watched the movie, you didn't really have to watch.
Yeah. No, the Marvels movie was like, again, one of those, I liked it better than the series just because it seemed like the actors in it or the actresses had more fun with it. Like, seemed like they had like a good chemistry going on. So I definitely preferred the movie.
Yeah, I would say, like I said, I think that she was the best thing about them because the Ms. Marvel series I didn't think was like the storyline wasn't that fantastic. Like the villains were terrible. The villains were terrible in it. I didn't feel like anything was in danger at any time, and that's not what you want in a villain. So there wasn't the kind of stakes that I wanted there. I didn't care that much about the villains, and
Yeah.
But she was the best part. Like I could just sit and watch her interact with her family all day.
The parents.
The
were
family was
probably my
great.
favorite
Her
part.
brother, her parents, dude. Awesome.
Wow.
Okay.
Should we get on to number 5?
Yeah, let's get into our rankings here. And like I said, if anyone has anything to say about any of these rankings, I mean, I'm kind of maybe hold the booing down a little bit because I don't think you're going to agree with a lot of these. But let's go. You want to start it?
Number 5 for me,
Uh-huh.
Echo.
Echo. Okay. I think a lot of people are maybe into that. What makes it like the lowest on your list?
I think they did a great disservice to Kingpin in
okay.
that series.
Okay.
Yes, he is erratic and emotional in his own sense in the Daredevil series, but it just didn't feel right. He felt almost whiny. Like, and what separates this from his like off character acting in the like Hawkeye series, which I'd also consider to be like not gritty in the way that he normally is, it's like, that's a Christmas special, man.
Yeah.
Don't take anything from that seriously. Like the whole thing is a joke.
I agree with you on that. Like him in Hawkeye, I agree with you. It felt cartoony. He did not feel nearly dark enough.
It's supposed to.
Right? Right. No, but I get it. But just some of the things they did, just when you watch him fighting, he was like tossing people, and it was really like it looked kind of silly. I didn't think it was nearly like dark and gritty enough. Maybe don't use that character if it's gonna be,
But yeah, also
silly.
like
I think he was better in Echo though. Better. But I get what you're saying. He's like
Yeah.
wimpy Kingpin. He's like crying about everything. That's not
yeah,
typical.
he seems like he's acting like a tryhard throughout the series.
Yeah. Okay.
Like with Echo, like he's trying a little too hard.
Trying to humanize him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they try to. You're not supposed to like him.
Yeah, I get more of the humanizing him I get from the Daredevil series. Like that made me care about that character a lot more. Not that I was rooting for him, but you get that backstory, and it's a dark backstory, and it's like you get why he's as violent as he is, and that's always kind of got him his way. The violence, the killing, like that's how he's moved into a position where he's at. So I think what's going on back here?
Sorry. Robert.
Should be so.
But what would you say your overall ranking for the show? What would you consider?
Hold on. I'm going to get to the ranking of that show on my list when I get to it. I think Echo I have rated higher. It's not my number 5. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
So,
what is your number 5?
My number 5, and this is probably going to like people are not going to agree with this. I don't even want to say it.
Say it.
My number 5 is Agatha all along. I know.
Stop.
I know. I'm sorry. I loved the show until the end. I didn't like how they ended. I thought it would have been so much cooler to, has most people seen Agatha all along? Okay. When it was building it up to where it was like someone created all this. It wasn't real. Like it wasn't, it didn't exist before. When they did all that, I was hoping it was Agatha who was the one that created like illusions, because they kept talking about how she creates illusions. That's like one of the main things that she can do. They even alluded to it in the series. And I thought instead of it being Wiccan who did it, I thought it was going to be Agatha. And it looked to me like they were building up to, you guys never ever even went anywhere. It was all an illusion that Agatha created to get you all to give up your powers to her. And I was like, oh, this is genius. This is the coolest thing ever. And then when they were like, they dumped all that, and it was like, it was It was him the whole time. She just went along with it. Like, okay, I can use this, but I thought it was going to be much more. I mean, it's called Agatha all along. I thought it'd been perfect if it was Agatha all along.
Wasn't there going to be one additional episode, like 7 instead of 6, and then they dumped it, one episode again, maybe changed?
I don't know. They did 8, right? Or 9?
Yeah, it was 9. I thought.
9 episodes. So it would have been 10, maybe.
I think there was supposed to be one more. I thought there was supposed to be one more episode and they changed the ending.
Could have been.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And it looks like man, if they would have done that and they would have done it the way I said, and I get it. You can't have things the way you want them and be like, oh, I don't like it because it wasn't exactly how I predicted. Otherwise, I enjoyed it episode to episode. I liked the road, although I thought it was way too long. I just kept wanting to get off the road at one point, because every episode was like, they're still on the damn road. Can we get off the road? The witch's road.
I was hoping that we would get not even a cameo, but at least a hint of
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, of Scarlet Witch, because let's be real, she's not dead.
Yeah, she's not dead.
She ain't dead. So I was kind of disappointed for those reasons that we didn't really get any strong inclinations. Yes.
Did we watch the same show?
Yes. I watched the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I enjoyed the show up until that ending. The ending it didn't do it for me.
What specifically are you about to scream at me for?
Oh, it's both of you. Don't worry.
They're friends, by the way. Just don't.
For the record, that's my friend. We're here together, so I'm not to say things.
All right.
This is my friend. I love him.
Okay, let's go. Let's hear it.
I don't. They're working. Do you want to drive a truck through the things and one that's alive? They're working.
Well, I don't need to know. I don't need to know that she's alive. I need to know what the next steps are.
Like what happened to her? Like where is she? Yeah, she's still there, I guess.
Let them take time with it.
Yeah.
Let's take time to tell the story and eventually bring her back to the way that matters. They did what they needed to. They hinted at it happening. They had their hints in it. And then we continued on with the story. We have the story hook next with Billy. We know that this story is going to continue happening. We know that I am almost definitely coming back to episode 1. We have the puzzle pieces. Let them put them together in their own time.
Okay. All right. I don't like Agatha being a ghost either. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah.
Okay.
That was corny.
Oh, I thought you either leave her dead or you have her not have ever died. Like, oh, that was fake. She didn't really die. She manipulated you. That's what I thought was happening. I thought it was going to be like, I manipulated you. I didn't die in front of you. You didn't sacrifice your powers to save me. You just gave them to me. Like, that's what I wanted it to be.
Although, standout actress, or I actually can't remember her name.
Catherine Hahn?
No, Rio's actress.
Yeah?
Aubrey Plaza, yes, standout actress from the show.
Yeah.
She sold the character entirely for me.
Yeah. I mean, it was all Catherine Hahn for me. I mean, she was the star of the show, and she's awesome. I loved her in it. Like I said, who? Oh yeah. That was a cool aspect to it too. That where she kept like saying things from different times, and it didn't make any sense until the end. That was a cool episode.
I think she won I don't know if she won it. She at least got nominated for an award for Best Supporting Actress. So
that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, songs.
Okay.
I mean, it got stuck in my head. Yeah, I mean.
My only problem is, okay, music's all right. You're getting angry because I can see it right now. You're like, don't say anything about the music. The musical episode. I didn't need the musical episode. I didn't need that. I didn't need that at all. It was a cool idea, like show them doing the music, like that they're all like in this kind of 80s rock band thing. But I didn't need it to be like all. They didn't need to perform the whole song. Like I don't know.
My more issue with the music is not the way that it sounds like as it is. It's like when they're opening up the road, it does not sound like they're in a basement. It sounds like they're in a studio. Like why?
I think they were in a studio.
But like, why can't movies? And I mean, I think Marvel's worse a little bit than other places. Like, why can't they do some?
I get you.
Yeah.
So she rings a bell.
they start singing.
Yeah.
So the song is a key change. She rings the same bell. You need a second bell to have a different note. And I'm like,
Okay.
I didn't realize it the first time. She had one bell, and different notes. Maybe because she's
Okay, he's really nerding out here on that music thing.
That's my.
Yes, yes.
I got a question. So,
Yeah.
So the very beginning, Agatha is a homicide detective, and she sees like Wanda's, we're meant to believe it's Wanda.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is an illusion. So who created that illusion? It wasn't Wanda's hex.
Right. Who knows that? Like, who knows that where Wanda is or whatever? Like, who knows about that? Who knows Wanda is dead? To put it in her head, like, does everyone already know that? Maybe. Yeah. So you think there might be something like that we just didn't find out yet that might come back?
I was thinking back, and I'm like, okay, she starts out, she thinks she's a homicide detective.
Yeah.
And then I think it's when she sees Billy.
He brings her out of it.
That he brings her out of it. So I'm just wondering, like, she wasn't in the hex set.
I thought it was.
Oh, you know what?
I thought it was real because that's when she met her. Like, she was like a federal agent. He's like, "Do you remember why you hate me?" And then I thought it was her.
Right. You know what? I'm thinking back now. Wanda left her in that state. Did she not?
Yeah. Okay. Then maybe she still was.
She left her in this illusion, and she's been stuck in it ever since. Is what I imagine. And then here comes Billy. He somehow has the power to break her out. And
that was my interpretation. The illusion sort of went nuts. That goes to why we had so many illusions to Wanda and Different Fate is because the illusion was literally like, oh, Wanda's dying, I'm gonna go nuts, and that's why Billy was able to break it as well because it wasn't as strong. Generally, this is no precedent in MCU, but generally in magic in general, when the caster or something dies, it's weaker.
Okay. What's up?
Presumably that we're not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cough, cough.
Yeah. Maybe weekend, right? Maybe that's what's going on.
We can't even say body or it didn't happen anymore in the MCU because clearly that doesn't mean like.
Yeah, you could never say that with anything comic based. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you see it happen.
Cough, cough. Gambit's not really dead. Cough, cough.
Right.
And
Gambit's not dead. He is dead, but he's going to be resurrected.
on your point about the ending, I agree with the ghost thing. The ghost thing is dumb. The ghost thing is dumb.
Very dumb. Yep.
But the ending, come on, part of it was Agatha as well. She was not innocent in the whole
Right. She played along.
She was the one that created the idea of the road and
Yes.
the
Which I thought was brilliant. I love that it was just a song
She
her
is
and her
not
kid made up.
innocent. I almost feel like it's almost better. We have, of course, partially it was Agatha, but there was also partially elements of it with Billy, and now we get that whole story of, oops, I accidentally killed people, and this went way too far, as well as we established now that Billy is very powerful to do all this, as well as I deeply enjoyed that because of just being like, okay, guess we're going along with this, because that's what she would do in this scenario. She wouldn't say, hey, because that would be telling other people, hey, by the way, I created this illusion, and so she just goes along with it. And she deals with it, and she tries to find a way to make it work for her. Accept the character, and it's good, and I like that.
That's good.
You put it at 5. I cannot comprehend how your brain works.
I'm sorry.
Well, to segue, my number 4
Is
is Agatha all along.
All right. Well, that's cool. We both discussed it
Yeah.
like in great detail, so we can just go on past it. But if anybody had anything else about
I wasn't on the
Agatha
podcast. I would say my
commentary, do you think we're stupid as she does?
Well, what if Wanda's a ghost and she's in the next season of
I don't think ghosts have a place in the MC. Like that's
Are
cheap.
you sure? 'Cause
Ghost
there
Rider.
was-
Well, ghost right, but like I don't think if people die, either just let them die or have them resurrected the normal way, please.
It's very
was an illusion.
Oh yeah.
So, like at the end, like one or two goes too, so I guess ghosts are real now.
Yeah. Ghosts are a thing.
Gonna have like Ghost Iron Man
I bet they better not ever do that.
You're all
if they pay him.
putting so much stake in these this last episode as well.
Yeah. Well, it
like
made it.
last episode, that sort of deal. Putting so much stake in that when the entire rest of the show was also very, very good, and I feel like we're all sort of
I said it was.
ignoring that You put it at 5. You don't get to say I said
I
it was good.
enjoyed
You put
the-
it at 5.
That doesn't mean it's terrible. It means I like
We
the other ones
literally
more.
said earlier that we don't dislike any of these projects.
Yeah. It's not. It's just the least loved.
Okay, so then what's your number 4?
I don't know. She was really angry. Did you see when she was counting?
Oh.
She kept going like this. She's like, first of all.
Oh, trust me, I will hear about this on the ride
All right.
home.
Okay, my number 4. Here we go. Is What If season 2?
Okay, okay.
What? Did you love What If season 2?
It's not ranked
Do you
as my
remember
number.
it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
literally rewatched
Then I'm
it before the pod.
So you actually prepared for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I even started rewatching WandaVision.
Okay. You got me. All right. Well, recency bias got me on that one for sure because I haven't seen that since December of last year. However, when I review these shows episode by episode, I watch them like 3 times through. So it's still in my head pretty good. There were some really great episodes of it. I just thought that some of this other stuff was a little better. That's all. It was a cool series. I can't wait for season 3.
The Iron Man and the Grandmaster episode was probably my favorite from the season.
I liked the what was the one with the new character they introduced?
Kahori.
Yeah, Kahori. That was good.
That was actually my least favorite.
Okay.
I didn't see what it's yet. But they tie it together like 2 seasons.
Yeah, there is a lot of
They do.
drawback to the.
At first, no, he's saying like at the end, is it
Oh.
all like brought
Oh,
together? And it is.
still yes.
It
Yeah.
is like through.
Well,
Okay.
and Mr. You can say this without spoilers. Mr. Clappy Hands. For those that watched it, might know who. There's a guy in the show who greets someone prior in the show by clapping.
It's okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a joke.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Season 1.
But yeah, I thought it was great. I love the What If. I love the idea of taking this, taking the multiverse and actually just making a show out of the multiverse instead of like just having to make everything about the multiverse and like tie it in at the end. Like, oh, the multiverse is breaking through. Like this is, which I get it. We're doing the multiverse saga. We're gonna, but this was a cool way to really introduce people to what the multiverse was, like season 1.
So then, what specifically do you not like about the show?
That I like the other ones more. I mean, it literally, I liked it.
I guess I've seen the main criticism for What If, or at least a very vocal minority, is that I've seen people not like the Peggy Carter kind of like running the show stuff.
What? No, I love Captain
she is probably my favorite side character. The oldish, anyways, show on ABC is probably second to Daredevil in terms of favorite Marvel series. It was the first show that I watched after watching Daredevil for the first time, and like I needed that low stakes, lighthearted series. Also, due to my distaste, if you will, to put professionally, for Captain America. Having a Peggy Carter story where he is not present was like exactly what I needed to fall even more in love with her character.
Yeah, I like her.
Well, there was supposed to be another season, and then ABC nixed it.
What did you say?
Yes, on ABC. Well, it's now on Disney Plus.
What was it called?
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter. Yeah, that was like early on. I mean, that was.
one shot.
Was that 2012 or 13 or something? Like it was after the Captain America film, the first one. So.
And they had a one episode that was on a off week of Agents of Shield, and they had the season 1 went off season, and then season 2 was next year.
If anyone in the room is a fan of Vision, then you will definitely enjoy the person who plays Edwin Jarvis, because obviously Vision comes from Jarvis.
Yeah.
So the actor that they have play him does phenomenal in the role. He briefly makes a cameo in Endgame, driving Howard away.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not that I disliked it. It's just that I had to make a ranking, right? It's like same thing with Agatha. It's like I didn't dislike it. I gotta put it somewhere.
Yeah.
That's where I ended up putting it. So I like What If, and I'm very much looking forward to this season 3 over Christmas break.
As for my number 3, I'm prepared to get screamed at.
Let's see what's left here. Yeah, you're wrong on this one. I know. So go ahead.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Stop.
Wow.
Stop it.
Wow.
Why? How are you? How?
Because
Explain. Is it the Gambit thing? She's a huge Gambit fan, and so she did not like Channing Tatum's Gambit.
yeah, so it's not that anything. It's the rest of the movie amazing. Cassandra Nova, love her, great. Hugh Jackman, However, Gambit made me so angry that this could not be ranked towards the top.
You saw it 3 times. You saw the movie 3 times.
I also am dressed as Wolverine. To think that maybe I like Hugh Jackman a little bit too much. Greatest Showman, amazing.
Here's where I have a problem with them taking very small specific issues and making them their entire perception of these media, and I don't like that story.
Okay. Don't bring her back.
Look,
What are you doing?
Oh, don't worry. We're going to San Diego this summer.
All right. No, I think
yes, I never watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier because my
That's great.
hate for Steve Rogers is so strong that I didn't want to deal with anything
you guys have to
related.
know. You guys have to know that she is the hot take person. Like she has the most crazy hot takes of anything.
Iron Man 2 is my 3rd favorite Marvel film
What's
of all
going on?
time.
No, with Captain America being my favorite,
Uh huh.
I just want to know what you think.
He is everything
He's too
that
good.
people try to say Iron Man is with no character development. He's cocky, self-righteous, and he betrays people. Like he literally betrays Iron Man in Civil War to go hunt for Bucky, abandoning all his other friends. Like, yes, Bucky is his best friend, but to literally nix all of your other ones is complete insanity.
I agree, disagree. However, I think that you should watch Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It's not.
There is some
It is
callback to Steve Rogers was a great Captain America. However, the humbleness of Sam Wilson and working along with Bucky, many argue should have been Captain America.
Yeah.
But he also is humble enough to be like, yeah, no, you deserve the shield. I don't. I think you would really like.
I will.
Yeah.
I will be watching it before Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out in February.
Oh.
Wait, there's no season.
Or not
No.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Brave New World. Brave New World.
Yeah. But I think Captain America and just to see someone on the show again was really awesome for me. I didn't care who it was. I was just happy to see it.
We've done this every year. So if you go back on my podcast to like the old episodes, we did that ranking as well. Like 2021, and there was 9 projects that year.
Yeah.
It was crazy big year. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier was up there. It was either 1 or 2 for me.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority then. That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. However,
The Cajun accent in Deadpool and Wolverine
It
is
was
a
played
no.
for laughs, so it was supposed to be silly.
It was so bad that it wasn't funny.
She's a newer X-Men fan,
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm Agent.
and that's like her character. Like,
Yeah. Yes, you in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that last night. Like,
My mom's from Korea. I can't use chopsticks. Don't. That's not.
yeah, he probably could nail that accent and not do it over the top. I'm sure. In fact, he probably kind of has it.
He said the guy like,
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. Right.
Also, the costume just looks weird. Like it looks like a Hollywood costume. Like
I don't know.
I kind of like Gambit to look maybe a little grungy, like he does in the Origins.
He looked like the animated series version of
I
the
disagrey.
original, at least.
No, it's not blue though.
Over the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Deadpool, but it's not blue. It's not like
like
that.
pink.
It's not
and-
that like aggressive blue color that it.
Okay.
And also
Art.
his eyes are not done in the Deadpool and
That's true.
Wolverine film.
That would have been cool if you would have had like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
But there was a video of him saying that like Ryan Reynolds told him to dial it up more. He's like make it more. I don't even want to understand what you're saying. So it's
Yeah.
made it more incomprehensible. Just so
And
it's funny.
it was actually funny because when I watched it on Disney Plus and had the commentary subtitles on, like he's actually saying real stuff there. He really does. I thought when I watched it in the theater twice, I thought he's just speaking gibberish, like to be funny. That it kind of sounds like, but he really is speaking real words there. It's kind of wild.
Understood him.
Uh-huh.
It might just be because my favorite show is Interview with the Vampire, and I rewatched that one. It's almost insane level. They have
they got the Creole accent.
They have that same accent type, and so it might just be because I've listened to enough to understand it. But I could recognize who was actually saying.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Gypsy Rose stuff on TV, and like they're all from Louisiana. Her dad has like pretty thick in them. And then my wife and I watch like 90 Day Fiance. There's people. It doesn't matter. Let's move.
Right.
Let's move.
Here,
on.
we have no comment.
I was gonna say, if you put the gambling aside, at least be happy that Alexa was there.
I don't like that Electra either.
Didn't you say that? You didn't like Electra? Yeah.
I love.
Yes, she's from the Daredevil movie.
Yeah. She's and she had an Electra movie.
Yeah.
There's an Electro in there
The Daredevil. If we want to collectively trash the Daredevil movie, that's after the panel discussion. We will be here all day.
I will tell you right now, though, my son agrees because he watched it. But the Daredevil movie, if you go back and watch it, which you probably have recently,
semi-recent.
If you're a Daredevil comic fan, you can appreciate it because they include a lot of like comic accurate stuff. And actually, if you watch, it's all Frank Miller stuff, just like the series, right? Yeah. Basically, if you watch that movie, it's like watching the series, but compressed. The story they're telling, Elektra being there, like a lot of it, Bullseye, all of it. So I don't know. I didn't like it when I first saw it back in the day, but revisiting it recently, I was like, you know what? They actually did a good job of like making it comic accurate, like telling the story, and like Affleck did pretty good. Some people may not agree, but Affleck's a pretty damn good actor. He's actually really good. He's really good.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I think he's really good. It's really good. Anyway.
What's your number 3?
Number 3. Echo. My number 3 is Echo.
You ranked that way higher than I thought you were going to.
You know why is it was the first kind of taste of like a little bit more adult, darker series for Marvel, and I was looking forward to it the whole time. Like even that trailer, I was like, oh, this looks gritty. This looks more. It looks. Yeah, it was the first TVMA rating they had. You actually had to log in as an adult to watch it on Disney Plus. So it was like, I like that they took a little bit more adult tone to it. Because Daredevil for me is like the best series ever made.
I guess I saw the trailer and thought we were getting another Daredevil series, and I don't think it matched up to that tone.
Yeah, but we are.
No, I mean figurative, like.
Yeah, you thought it was going to be like more of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as dark, but it did enough for me that I dug it.
I'll admit, as like on the Daredevil subject, supposedly this new series is not done in a film noir style, and that scares me.
Yeah. Well, it is. But they are saying it is going to pick up. Now directly after the other one, so it's not like we're wiping clean the stuff that happened. Which I'm glad. I don't want them to retell any of the stories they've already told. Yeah. They did them so beautifully. Like, don't do that. The only thing even close to, and this is completely unrelated, the only thing even close to Daredevil is the Penguin series on HBO's. Oh my God.
I'll have to give it a shot.
It is ridiculously good. It's like sickening how good it is. I'll just tell you. Way darker, too. Yeah. What's that?
Penguin got its own series?
Yes. Yeah. On HBO, and it's really, really good. Very dark, very gritty. It's kind of like a Scorsese film. If you like Scorsese, we talked about that last night. It's like a whole Scorsese
also
thing.
Colin Farrell as Penguin is like unrecognized.
Yeah.
So like that was Bullseye.
Yeah. Right.
Colin Farrell is like that's.
Yeah, that was a guy from The Recruit. Like, what are we talking about here? Yes.
The guy from Total Recall Remake.
That's. I saw that. Just to compare. All right. What you want me to do the number 2?
You kick it off. Yeah, you kick it off.
No, Echo was number 3.
Yeah.
Did you do your number 3?
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay. My number 2 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Really?
Yep.
What's better than that?
My
That's-
That year?
yeah.
We're including another thing in here that's not quite MCU, but really.
My number
Close.
2 is what in season 2.
Really? Wow. Okay. So we have the same number 1. That's what's going on here. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I
So-
mean,
What did you like about it?
okay, I'll admit, Peggy Carter has a chokehold on me, and the second that I see her on screen, I will watch religiously whatever she is in. I think Haley Atwell does a phenomenal job with the character. I did not know that was her actual voice. Like, her actual voice kind of sounds like that. I hadn't watched too many interviews with her in it, but once, I'm also I tend to be more partial to shows, in which case, in some capacity, I've met somebody who works on the show. I have met Haley Atwell, so
What's she like?
she is nice. She truly does take her time with everyone, which is a bit of a rarity with these A-lister guests. But she's patient. I saw her, her patience and understanding, especially with like folks who are neurodivergent on some variety. So that's always awesome to see, right? Because I work as a parent, so that's cool.
Has anyone ever done any of the like take a picture with a celebrity here or at one of the cons?
Yeah.
What was your experience like with that?
Horrible.
Very, very quick, very.
Yeah.
Not personal at all.
We talked about lessons here,
Yeah.
I like met Christopher Zavala and got to see a picture with him.
Mhm.
He took a little bit more time, but with Calvin Lutz and Peter.
So was the difference there that like you guys had to go behind the curtain and like wait in line and stuff and get the photo? And then was yours like that though? Or was yours like you went up to the table and talked to him?
Well, we did an autograph and then we did a photo, but the autograph was kind of the same situation, very in and out.
I've done one ever and it turned me off from all of them. Like I love the Flash series on CW and I met Grant Gustin and got the picture taken. He said no words to us. 0. I said hello to him because he wasn't saying anything. And I was like, what's going on? I thought this guy was so cool when he came here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My standout photo op has got to be Elizabeth Olsen. She had a group session before, and it was running late, as they tend to when there's multiple guests in the shot. And she would have normally fully been entitled to her schedule break. Like, no questions asked. She deserves it. She went immediately to her single photo ops. I noticed that she was saying hi to everyone that came in. Any people wearing costumes, she seemed to be, commenting on them. Like, clearly she cares about her fan base. Like, that was a, standout.
Yeah. I think it's more it's a lot more personal, a lot more intimate when someone has a table, right? You can go up and look at their different stuff they have to offer. I know you worked that X-Men 97 area last year or at Animate Columbus. And so you got chummy with all the voice actors.
Yeah.
But they're all they were all cool and they all sit and
Yeah.
talk to you forever. And, I went to, today I went and met the guy who wrote Kenobi, the Star Wars book, and the Batman Resurrection book. And he was awesome, dude. He went into all this like history about the Batman script and like what didn't make it and what did and why the movie is like, why it looks like there's a scene missing right here? Because there is. Like Jack Nicholson made up his own lines and it kind of threw the whole vibe of the thing off. Like, so that was a cool experience. I like that. I like that personal, like, one-on-one.
The child ones.
Cool. Yes,
Have you seen Venom 3 yet?
I saw it. It's
I haven't.
a disappointment.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
It starts off.
It was definitely the funniest Venom.
I liked the first one the best.
But the third one was the fun.
Did you know
I disagree. Come on.
What?
That one was.
Yes, the second one's good. I think the second one is a solid
The
film.
second one is rushed for sure.
Like, yeah, it's a little rushed, but it's not bad. Like, I still do enjoy it.
It's an hour and 30
Miss Chen is
in Venom
lovely.
3. She's
It was like it was 45 minutes. It was great.
I have a habit of getting attached to side characters. Cough, Maria Hill.
I actually I liked the first Venom film for what it was. I didn't.
You have to watch Venom 3. I think you really like
it wasn't the greatest thing ever. Even like any of the Venom films for me, it's not like wow, I loved it. But I did like the take of the first Venom. I liked Tom Hardy and his spastic ridiculousness. I like that kind of take on Eddie Brock. But no, I haven't seen the third one. Alejandro, who was here last night, he said it was a mess, as expected. That's what he said. So, oh, it was a mess.
I mean, so I
Huh?
Is he the bartender?
Oh yeah.
What?
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the bartender guy.
no Alejandro is another guest who has appeared
Sorry.
on the show.
Yeah, we did a show last night where all we did was talk about our number one on this list.
Yes.
We did a whole panel about that, and we had one more person up here with us, and those were his thoughts on.
Yes.
I thought
The bartender was here at the convention. There
I
was
don't
a guy
know.
who plays the bartender at the very end.
Really
Yeah, he was here.
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I know
the
this.
Venom, like the guy who was at the end where
Yeah.
Venom woke up in the MCU or whatever.
My family disappeared for 9 years.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. I was like, I don't know any bartenders. We never had a bartender.
No,
up
yeah,
here.
yeah. I was thinking.
We should
yeah,
get one though. Like,
I will have a lot.
all right. So let's
Our-
let's go into it. Our
our
number one is the same thing.
one, X-Men 97.
X-Men 97.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone saw yesterday, but for the X-Men panel, I was dressed in my Gambit costume with blue.
Yeah, proper color. Yeah. Yep.
Light blue.
No, this is cool though. This is cool because I'm an old school X-Men fan, like X-Men comics and X-Men the animated series. I grew up with it, and Zoe is a new X-Men fan who discovered it through X-Men 97. So it's crazy, it's like a generational thing here. But we both absolutely loved it. Like it created fandom for her for something she didn't even like know about before. And for me, it was like all the greatness of the original thing, but even better. Like it was so much better than the original series ever could have been.
Yeah.
It built on it. It gave us real characterization for people like Cyclops. It made Gambit matter and not just be like a cool, smooth talking guy, and that's all he does.
I mean, he was a cool, smooth talker.
He was, but he also mattered, man. They made him matter so much that's like everyone's favorite episode, right? Is like his send off. So,
I mean,
Gambit.
my
Have you not watched it? Am I ruining stuff for you?
No, I've already watched it.
Okay.
okay, well,
But my friend's
so
already spoiled the entire series.
yeah, I'm still in mourning. I never got over it.
He's coming back.
Yes, I can still be sad.
He'll be back.
My hook for the show. So this was my first piece of X-Men media ever. Aging myself a little bit, I suppose. There. What got me hooked was Matthew Watterson's performance as Magneto. That was my initial hook. The UN trial scene, phenomenal. I mean, I am a sucker for a good monologue.
Yeah.
And I am all about quotes and imagery. So when Bastion at the end has this whole like tolerance is extinction thing, like I personally think the one who should have said that is Magneto. I think that was a better line fitted for his image, his imagery, his methodology, because he's seen what tolerance looks like to the humans, and it's separate but equal all over again. Like there's no actual equal rights there. And what is I can't remember exactly what the line is like, basically we're not like something along the lines of like, we're not asking you to hold our hand. We're merely asking you to accept that this is a shared world. Like we're all stuck on the floating rock together. Like let's have some decency. And that monologue was phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that they had characters that used to be the sole focus of not only the TV show, but every X-Men movie that came out in the 2000s. I'm the biggest Wolverine fan in the world, but I'm so glad that they gave him like the backseat in the series and focused on Cyclops and Rogue and Gambit and Magneto, and Professor X was kind of a jerk like he is in the comics. Like you're like, oh, maybe he's not the greatest guy. I love that.
Well, I remember talking to you, I'm pretty sure, about right after I had watched the X-Men 97 show. I think this was on a pod episode. Before I had watched the movies, and you were like describing Cyclops as like,
a douchebag.
Yeah, it's like a douchebag.
Yeah.
It's like just like a bad character. I'm like, did we watch the same thing?
Yeah, I'm glad that was your introduction because in the comics he's much better of a character. than
Yeah.
he is.
So that's why I was like confused when I go and watch the early 2000s movie. I'm like, yeah, he's a whiny child.
Yeah.
Like,
He's literally just there to like be in the way of Wolverine, and it's like such an injustice because he's an awesome character in the comics, especially like dealing with the stuff that they did in this series, like Madeline Pryor and all that. Like he's going through some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
When
do you
Jean
love me,
dies.
Jean, or am I just a lovely memory?
It's crazy.
That
right?
is a great line.
Yeah, that show was so deep. Like I feel like it did so much more than like I said the original could have really done. Like the original is great. Obviously, I wouldn't even be an X-Men fan if I didn't watch that as a kid. But yeah, but it's not even just the production value. It's not even the animation. They could have stick figures in this thing. It was the line delivery, the acting, the stories that they were telling. That was the best thing about it. It's like
So
the
you
storytelling.
watch Stickman, X-Men.
Yes,
100%.
Yes, I would.
It had a good story.
If it was that storyline and they were all stick men, yeah,
Instead of
I watch. Sure.
Is that- and then-
choose.
But the animation was great.
Yeah. But no, and what got me initially, my first time watching the show and thinking about it, I actually wasn't a diehard Gambit fan. Like I liked him, but it was Magneto. I was like Magneto all the way. This is where we're putting all of our special interest into. It was once I had processed the Genosha scene where he's with Rogue and Nightcrawler comes in to say hi. And Gambit's like kind of watching Rogue from afar, and Nightcrawler drops "There is no love without sin, for love is best measured in what we forgive." In what we forgive. That is kind of what sold me on Gambit. I started looking into his lines, so his interactions with Rogue, and it's for the same reason that other than Iron Man, Black Widow is my favorite Avenger. That kind of like. I have a sucker for those character types that can't possibly get the idea that they could ever truly
Be happy.
be loved or
Yeah.
be happy.
Yeah, I get it.
That's sad.
That is
We're
sad.
gonna end this on a
It
sad
is
note.
sad. Yes.
They announced X-Men 97. There's another season coming.
Yes,
For sure.
season 2.
They actually have from what I've heard, it's 3 seasons that they have
good.
already planned out. The only problem is like season 2 might be quite different because the showrunner from season 1, through controversies and such, has been let go, and so hopefully they stick with some of the ideas that he had to move the story forward. I heard that season 2 was going to lead somehow right into the Age of Apocalypse at some point, which would have been a really cool way to take the show.
Also, so I'm just gonna reach here just a little bit, but the Marvels, the very end of the Marvels,
Mhm.
Monica Rambeau,
Beast.
she is transported not only into another universe, but she's also, they're talking about time and space.
Yeah.
And then she gets, sorry, spoiler alert, she gets to this space station. She wakes up and she's with Maria Rambeau and Beast Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, the Kelsey Grammer
I
Beast, right?
remember.
Yeah.
Maria Rambeau, not only is she still alive now because she
Oh, yeah,
actually
yeah.
had cancer in the Marvels during the flip. But she's much younger.
Did she look younger? I didn't catch
She
that.
definitely- She didn't have gray hair. She's much younger, right?
I didn't catch
So,
that.
in my mind, it makes perfect sense that Monica Rambeau
Oh, that's awesome.
actually entered the exact same. Now that X-Men 97 is
Yeah.
in the MCU, that Monica Rambeau could have actually entered
She's in that movie universe
the same
from X-Men 2000, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
totally
Or
works.
the X-Men 97 animated.
Yeah, totally works. I feel like, and that's a good thing. I think you're really onto something there because the Fantastic Four movie is supposed to be a 60s futuristic 60s kind of world.
So excited for this show.
So-
You have no idea.
So if you can play with time within the universes too, or all you'd have to do that is like this universe didn't progress as fastly from humans evolution. The evolution took a little bit longer, maybe 30, 40 years longer, and so
In the MCU, you mean?
uh,
In the X-Men.
right in the X-Men universe, that's all you'd have to say is like that world progressed a tad bit slower than the other worlds. So that's why you get a very retro 60s thing going on, even though maybe it is technically, our 2024 or whatever. It's like, but they're in a different stage of their development through time, so they don't have maybe that's, I don't know, that could be a thing. Yes.
Not quite related to the Fantastic Four, but we just said remind me, what year is it supposed to be against? Because they jumped 5 years.
Yeah.
So, Endgame, Tony Stark's and Natasha's death happened earlier this year.
That was 2023. But as we're getting closer,
Right.
like as the things come out, are we like our time catching up to what it's supposed to be? Or is it
So-
back again, or is it there always going to be several years?
I think
I think
that's always been the way that it hasn't. The MCU always existed like
I
a
don't think
couple
so.
of years ahead.
It used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because like when they would flash back to stuff like Bucky killing
Yeah,
Tony's
the
parents, it was like 1992 or whatever. Like that's so I think it was the same kind of timeline. I feel like until we did that jump of 5 years, we were behind. I think they thought that was going to work really well for them, and then COVID happened and basically made us almost catch up to the end of Endgame, which is like where we're at now. And now we're like ahead, right? So yeah,
It was 2018, and then
Right.
it was 5 years later.
2023, right? And then the series didn't start coming out till 21, so they already had lost 3 years of time from that. So maybe they were trying to give them a buffer, like between phases. Like, all right, we're done with we're done with this saga, and now we're moving on to the next 3 phases. The multiverse saga or whatever, and they needed some time to put it together. Maybe they were trying to create a buffer there, and I don't think that maybe that's part of the problem. Is like it ended up being all rushed together because COVID hit, and then they started, then they had a writer's strike and all this, and so they just started cramming all these things together really fast, and we got 9 things come out in 2021. We got like 7 or 8 things come out in 2022, and it didn't work super well.
Yeah.
For me, it makes more sense. It's like even when the movies come out, it was like the movie came out around Christmas. It was snow in Christmas trees. If it came out in summer, it was summer.
Right.
So like, it's easier for me to like imagine it's happening. It's like the same thing. Oh, I forgot this is in 2 or 3 years in the future.
Right.
To me, that just kind of.
Yeah, I do that too. But like I said, I think we've caught up. So it's almost like I don't know if they're still trying to operate in that like 5 years ahead, or if they're trying to operate like we've caught up to where they're at now. They haven't made really a lot of references to time, like what time it is currently in any of the movies or series, I feel like. So I don't know. It remains to be seen. Yes, Cameron?
Moon Knight.
Why are we talking about Moon Knight? That's like
Because
3
it's
years
the
ago.
best Marvel
Cameron thinks
series.
Moon Knight is the best Marvel series ever made.
Yep. Name a better
Cameron has
one.
also only watched one series all the way through,
That is not true.
and that is Moon Knight. So-
That is not true. I watched
What else did you
Moon Knight 4 times.
oh yeah, you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you hated it, right?
Dude, I watched Loki.
Loki, yeah. You like that, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Was not the
Yeah.
first one.
First one, second one. No, it was like the 3rd or 4th series that came out.
Really? It was
3rd
the-
series.
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
It was the first
Oh,
one.
WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki. What if? I'm not gonna keep
Yeah,
going.
I guess to circle back to On Topic, so we can come in for our landing. Probably, our number one rank, X-Men 97, something I am hoping that we get to see. It might not be season 2, depending on how they decide to pace things, but I'm hoping that we get to see what we see in the comics with Gambit and Rogue.
Yeah.
And
Gambit
how-
returning under Apocalypse's power as a 4 horseman.
Well, I want their romance to flesh out a little bit more. I want to
I think it
see.
will.
I want to see, where she has to put on the power collar just for their relationship to exist, and the negative impacts that has on her character. And I want to see the wedding scene.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of cool stuff that we could see if they continue the series on. I hope season 2 is on par, or at least close to as good as season 1. I mean, I don't know if people thought that we would be including the animated series in our MCU rankings because it's not technically MCU. But
I think did you not call the panel Marvel in review, Marvel in review?
no, MCU in review. So we included it because we thought it was one of the major parts of last year. But with that being said, if you're including X-Men 97, are we in somewhat of agreement that it's like the best thing that came out last year? Or? Yeah? No? Does anyone have anything else that is like the top thing that came out last year?
What year was She-Hulk? Did you guys like that?
22.
Yeah, wasn't it 22? And
Yeah, we did a ranking. This is how I sell you on my podcast. So you go find my podcast, Marvel Plus. We did the same thing. Like every year we count them down. I enjoyed She-Hulk more than a lot of people did. I tell you what it was. It was, if you like Deadpool, why don't you like She-Hulk? Like that's how I felt. It's
no,
no, because she's a fourth wall breaker. It's just.
Oh, it's not that. It's not the fourth wall breaking. Is not the issue that I had.
What's the issue? That's working. What's your issue?
My issue with She-Hulk is when it's the scene with her and Banner, and this is coming from the perspective of a woman, by the way.
All right.
Despite the cosplay, if you will, is when she's sitting down with Banner and he tries to like probe her on how she is as good at controlling her abilities, and her response is basically, "I got catcalled once." I'm like,
yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
I think it was the fact that she was saying like, "I'm a woman, so I deal with shit all the time." That you
But like,
so that's why
there is literally like I can't remember the line verbatim, but it's basically I get catcalled. Like,
I get it. The problem I had with that was that she was way too in control of her. Like, for one, she never went through a phase like Bruce did, where she had to become smart. That's not how it was in the comics. I get it. That's not how it's supposed to be. Like, she's out of control. But the idea that he's trying to teach her how to kind of control her strength, use her powers, and she just kind of doesn't need him at all. She can just do it. She can throw things as far as him. She can fight him.
Like, I guess I get peeved. I'm like, we got this show instead of ever a backstory with Mark Ruffalo Hulk. Like, this is where the Marvel big bags of cash should have been going.
You're supposed to pretend that Edward Norton is Mark Ruffalo.
What?
Yeah. It's the same character. Yeah.
See,
sure.
But that's easier to pass off because of the minor role, like Don Cheadle. Also, the way they bring Don Cheadle in, the line is literally, "I'm here, deal with it."
I didn't even realize
It was funny, yeah.
But when She-Hulk, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it's been right on now. Was it her thing that she was always She-Hulk? She never reverted back to
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so. Like, once she changed into She-Hulk, she was kind of stuck in that form, walking around, going to court and stuff like. Yeah. So that's an actress doesn't want to be in the CGI all the time. She wants her face on the screen. Yeah. They're not gonna.
I don't think it's paint. If you saw the show, I don't think it's paint.
It's not paint, but just same reason that Iron Man has this thing off all the time. Same reason that Black Panther takes his mask off all the time. It's like same reason Spider-Man walks around with no mask on and everyone knows who he is. It's because it's Hollywood. And you're not going to do a movie that doesn't show your face. Yeah. Except for the Mandalorian season, which was genius. I thought it was great. I think that was a great idea. Is to never even show his face.
Yeah.
We know it's the actor that never had to actually come on set at all. You're missing out. It's a great show. If you're a Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan. Yes, Kim.
I think everyone's dying to know is if you're excited for Moon Knight season 2.
I don't know that there's going to be a Moon Knight season 2.
There is.
I never watched.
I for sure would watch something like that.
I watched episode 1 of Moon Knight and could not get through the rest of it.
Because the first episode was boring.
Okay, so what he referred to Midnight Suns is like it's like all these kind of darker force characters, right? Like Blade, Ghost Rider, stuff like that, all teamed up. And Moon Knight's part of that.
It's like a Suicide Squad.
Marvel's Suicide Squad is
kinda.
the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
It looks
What? Thunderbolts?
No,
Dude,
no, I'm so excited.
Do we
I
like
love-
Yelena Belova?
Yes, I love her.
I love Yelena.
Yes, you in the back.
I love.
I don't know how I feel about
Uh-huh.
it. But the latest one, I'm like, okay.
Is it the one where they focus in on Yelena, like her story, or no?
Yeah, it's that. When they start showing like more about like what's going on with Bucky in the movie too.
Yeah.
When they started showing those trailers, I was like, it's gonna be like really.
It looks really good. I was surprised, honestly.
I mean, he pulls his arm out of the dishwasher. I was sold.
Yes. I wasn't looking forward to Thunderbolts when I heard about it happening, but seeing that trailer, I'm like, dude, this might be like the best thing next year.
Yeah, but no, and I know that some people find David Harbour's character annoying. I think he's funny.
I like him.
So I'm
I mean, I
excited.
love Black Widow, man. A lot of people don't care for Black
See-
Widow. I think it might have hit at the wrong time, but I think it was a cool ass movie.
I think that Black Widow should have been an R-rated. Like, if they had
Little
been
darker.
able to make an R-rated Black Widow film, that would have been.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary, but I mean, yeah,
You could not do the Red Room a true justice
true,
in a PG-13 movie.
you might be right about that.
But you also think Eternals is one of the best.
I didn't say it was one of
No,
them.
no,
Best.
you
Don't put words in
think
my
it-
mouth. I think it's a solid movie. I think it wasn't bad. People went in expecting like
I have not been able to watch the Eternals without falling asleep during
what
it.
I liked about Eternals. What I liked about Eternals is that it showed what mutant powers might look like when we get X-Men MCU. And I thought he did it really well. Like the dude who shoots stuff out of his eyes, I'm like, that's Cyclops, dude, and he did it
Why wouldn't
really
you
well.
watch the X-Men
Yeah.
movies?
Because it gave me hope for this upcoming version of X-Men. I'm like, oh, it's gonna look awesome. I was always iffy. How do you take the X-Men, which are really fantastical characters, all of them have powers? How are you gonna put that in this world where a lot of stuff is kind of grounded and make it,
Oh, so grounded. Thanos.
yeah, like Thanos.
So
No,
No,
like-
like
But like,
grounded, like Natasha on
yeah,
War-
like
so
like
grounded.
okay, but I mean, it's a more grounded. Okay, so it's a lot of it you could, at least at the beginning of the MCU, you could go, okay, this
Spider-Man
could kind of happen.
Spider.
Iron Man could exist, right? A super soldier serum could exist. These things are like realistic. Yes, it got more fantastic, but I felt like, how are you going to do X-Men? Everybody's got powers. They're flying around, doing all this stuff, and do it in a way that's not silly and takes you out of it.
What about Blade? He's like a vampire hunter.
That was a pretty grounded movie, though. Actually, the Blade movies were really kind of cool. And stuff.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
my favorite part about it was we got like probably the best realistic depiction of Speedster ever.
Oh yeah,
Ever.
that's what I'm saying. They made powers look like, oh, that looks cool. Uh-huh. It does.
Just a little, but I love how they did it.
Yeah, it looked like how. That's one of my problems with the Flash movie is like they do everything in slow mo, and it doesn't work in the same way that they did with
Animation.
X-Men: Days of Future Past. Like that looks pretty cool. When they do it with the Flash, I don't know. Maybe I'm just over it, the slow mo version of Speedsters, but having her like us seeing her and what it would look like for us to see a speedster moving around, that was awesome.
But you could still tell it was her.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know. It was kind of love.
Yeah.
It felt like they shot it like frame by frame. So that's how
Yes.
it was.
Yeah, like you saw like a bunch of her. It was really cool. I liked all of their like power sets. It got me excited. And I just thought it was an all right movie. I don't know. It was a departure from the rest of the MCU stuff, and it was kind of its own thing. And I'd be happy if they leave it just like that. Whatever. That movie's all on its own. They don't even have to include them later if they don't want. I do like that they're finally addressing the giant hand hanging out of the ocean in Thunderbolts. Adamantium. That's how they're bringing in adamantium. So
You
I
think
thought
that's
that was
how-
really cool.
This is a weird question. Do you think it's like Galactus was born?
Like what?
Like they made the Earth.
Oh, like he grew out of a planet
Yeah,
like
I
that?
just thought about that.
I don't know a lot about
Like the
Galactus. Other
hand,
people
it
could
kind of
probably
looked
tell.
like Galactus.
Other people could probably.
Born on a alien planet. Yeah, Galactus-
Like he's not a celestial.
Well, no, according to
But
the-
he's also like a million miles
according,
Right.
according to the Marvel, at least he can control his size and mass at will.
Uh-huh.
And he's the only thing left over from a previous universe.
Okay.
However that makes sense.
Well, that kind of works too.
I feel
If
like
they
the
use him in
left
Secret
is-
Wars and stuff, like if they use him and if they bring him from the Fantastic Four 60s retro universe or whatever, that's going to be a cool feature. Is like having that maybe be his origin, like he came from a dead world or something.
I
Yeah.
feel like Galactus is kind of overpowered.
Yeah.
He eats worlds.
There's a lot of those though, man, in
He eats
comics.
worlds.
I know there's a lot of those in comics.
I
There's a
know.
lot of those
He's
overpowered,
really
huge,
overpowered.
godlike.
He's probably the most overpowered.
I don't know.
One of the times I tried to eat ego.
Ego, the living planet,
Yeah.
Cameron.
I don't like
How did he
Ego.
lose?
I don't know.
Yeah, the movie version. Yeah.
How do you do a living planet though? You know, that's what I thought. I was like, you know what, this works, I guess. How else do you do a living planet that can interact with people?
Good CGI.
Okay, a planet-sized person. Okay,
Well,
All
I mean,
right.
all right. We have veered so far off of topic.
we have, and we went past our
You
time.
didn't
I know.
answer my question about Moon Knight.
I just don't want to make people stay here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you, kind GalaxyCon worker in the back, for putting up with us going
She's trying
so far.
She's trying to clean things up. You know, she's ready to go. But we were the last panel, so I was like, oh, we don't have to worry about going over, but we have gone over, and so. But thank you guys. No one left. No one left during the
Actually,
show.
one-
I appreciate that so much.
The girl over there left.
What? Yeah,
I mentally never showed up to this panel
that's.
or this week.
I would like. Hey, can I I got you. Can I before you guys leave, I have some cards here that just have my podcast information on them. I'd like to give them out because usually people are out of the room before I get up and I go to give them and they're like,
Here.
see ya.
Bye. I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you
Yep,
guys.
thank you.